All right, let's jump right into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a truly massive internet phenomenon. We're talking about extreme geography and this vast, viral ecosystem of Earth's mysteries. We are going to figure out exactly why humanity is just completely obsessed with the absolute weirdest, most dangerous corners of our planet.
So, what exactly do a boiling river and a massive hidden continent have in common? I mean, on the surface, these bizarre, logic-defying anomalies sound like pure fantasy, right? But they are very, very real. And as we dig into the data today, you'll see exactly how they act as this ultimate digital bait, basically pulling millions of curious minds into a meticulously crafted ecosystem of geographic wonder.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that these are the exact three mind-blowing facts used to hook viewers into the massive geography phenomenon we're analyzing. The creators of this content take these highly visual, incredibly specific concepts and put them right at the very top of their descriptions. They don't just say, hey, here are some cool rivers or interesting towns. No, they paint a vivid and, honestly, slightly terrifying picture. A river that literally cooks animals alive? An entire town crammed into one single building? It practically forces your brain to stop scrolling. It's just human nature to want answers to those kinds of startling mental images.
But did you notice what's actually missing? We aren't given the names of the boiling river or that isolated town anywhere in the source description. And leaving that out, that is a brilliant trick to build mystery. If they just told us the names up front, well, we'd look them up ourselves and move on with our day. Instead, they frame them purely as geographic wonders that completely defy logic. It creates this intentional knowledge gap that we feel desperately compelled to fill. And honestly, that missing information brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of our curiosity. Just look at that number. We're talking nearly 4 million views on a single piece of content titled 50 Geography Facts So Crazy They'll Change How You See the World, put out by the channel GeoMap Unveiled. 4 million people completely drawn in by the promise of hidden continents, boiling lakes, and backward waterfalls. It really goes to show that geography isn't just that dry subject we all left behind in grade school. When it's presented the right way, it's actually this thriving, massive engine for modern digital engagement. Plus, the creators explicitly promise to alter our fundamental worldview. They literally write, "This countdown will change how you see Earth forever." Now that is a bold, sweeping claim. They're leaning heavily into our desire for not just random trivia, but for paradigm-shifting knowledge about the planet we live on. And the crazy thing is, it works incredibly well. Because deep down, I think we all want to believe the Earth still holds massive, uncharted secrets that can just turn our understanding of physical reality completely upside down.
So the really crucial point here is that this massive view count isn't just some isolated fluke. It is the gateway into a vast algorithmic ecosystem of geographic content. When we analyze the recommendations surrounding this, we see this absolutely fascinating balancing act. The ecosystem perfectly balances our innocent childlike curiosity about the natural world on one side with our deeply morbid instinctual fascination with extreme danger on the other. It's this constant push and pull between wanting to explore and, well, wanting to survive. When you look at the recommended content, it immediately splinters into two distinct psychological buckets of earthly terrors. On the left, you've got nature's dangers. Think titles from channels like MapPack warning us about 23 places on Earth humans can't and shouldn't go, or explorations of the most dangerous places in nature. Then on the right, we've got human-made disasters, perfectly summed up by 40 examples of urban hell on Earth by WorldSpire. We're just totally obsessed with environments that are actively hostile to human survival, and it doesn't even matter if they were created by Mother Nature or by us.
And to prove just how incredibly powerful that danger bucket is, get a load of this staggering figure, one of the most popular related pieces of content in this entire ecosystem, from Top 5s, simply titled 15 Most Dangerous Places on Earth, sits at a massive 9.2 million views. Over 9 million times, someone looked at a screen and thought, yep, absolutely, show me exactly where I am most likely to meet my doom. It definitively proves that geographical peril is unequivocally one of the strongest magnets for human attention on the internet right now.
But here's the thing. Danger alone isn't quite enough to sustain this kind of massive viewership loop. The data shows we are equally captivated by the unknown, which plunges us deep into the territory of unexplained planetary mysteries. You see, if a dangerous place can be perfectly and rationally explained by science, sure, that's interesting. But a dangerous place that makes absolutely zero logical sense to modern scientists, now that is digital gold, and the algorithm pushes it super aggressively.
Notice how specific, unsolved mysteries totally dominate these recommendations. We've got why planes disappear in the Bermuda Triangle pulling in 6.2 million views, and what scientists are beginning to find in the Bermuda Triangle netting another 4.2 million. Throw in 15 most mysterious places scientists can't explain sitting at 2.2 million. The Bermuda Triangle essentially acts as this ultimate, million-strong recurring motif for anomalies that supposedly stump modern science. Even decades later, we absolutely eat up the idea that the experts still don't have all the answers. And all of this brings us to a really foundational concept. By tracking all this metadata, we can see that we are happily, willingly trapped in a viral ecosystem. Basically, this is a giant network of interconnected, highly engaging digital content, entirely driven by algorithmic recommendations that perfectly group our human curiosities together: danger, mystery, history. The system learns quickly that we just can't look away from things we don't understand, like ancient technologies we can't explain, or those crazy backward waterfalls. It feeds us one geographical curiosity and then flawlessly queues up the next.
But as we let this algorithm guide us even deeper down the rabbit hole, something truly fascinating happens to the data. The geographic recommendations actually begin to subtly shift. They move away from just physical places on a modern map, and they start morphing into temporal mysteries. Geography, as it turns out, is inextricably intertwined with time. Our curiosity about where we are inevitably leads us to ask when we are, and how on earth we got here in the first place.
Tracking the upload timelines of this recommended content reveals a really fascinating arc, perfectly mapping the progression of our curiosity. We start by looking back, checking out the 7 Wonders of the Ancient World by Lost in Time, then moving to Human Evolution with the channel Mac discussing ancient humans. Next, we compress all of existence into the History of the World in 20 minutes by Fun History. And finally, the algorithm just flings us all the way into the terrifying future with the channel Species, and MIT explains the 12 possible endings for AI. In just a few clicks, this viral ecosystem literally takes us from a boiling river in the present day all the way to the apocalyptic possible endings of our entire species. That is one incredibly powerful learning journey, driven purely by related content.
So, as we wrap up this explainer on the viral machinery behind our planetary fascination, I want to leave you with one final thought. We've mapped out exactly how algorithms use danger, mystery, and time to capture millions of minds and keep us endlessly clicking. But if we strip all the metadata away, let's focus on your own pure curiosity for a second. If you could safely explore just one logic-defying earthly secret without any of the danger involved, what would it be?